And recording.
And
Welcome to Staying on Topic podcast. Name's John.
oh, is that how we're doing?
No,
I don't know what we were doing.
I just wanted to throw it out there and kind of confuse you a little bit.
There you go, Mustangs.
I thought you had something in mind. That's why you
No, I was just waiting for something natural to see if we can do that. There you go. There you go. Welcome to Sunlight.
Nice. Welcome to Staying on Podcast.
Whoa! That's the one we're using, guys.
Let's go. The little cuts. Okay. So.
All right, welcome to the Staying on Topic podcast, where we try our best to. My name is Ruben.
My name is Victor.
My name is John. And today, hopefully, we got a lot of interesting topics that you might find enjoyable, you might agree with, you might disagree with. Hopefully, you enjoy your time here. And with that,
More importantly, let's hope it sounds a lot better.
Yeah.
True.
Our
process.
Our setup isn't completely fixed, but we are doing better. Mostly because we started earlier. So that's a big plus. We started earlier.
Very true.
And it's not as bad, which is a plus. We also changed how the table looks. So now we're in a different position than us just being in a straight line. That's something. That's pretty cool.
There's dynamic.
Yeah. We're evolving. Much like a story later that we'll be talking about is evolving because it is ongoing.
Yes.
Yes. Story, you talking about PS5?
Oh, that's not the story I was talking about. That's
I have a lot of stories in my head. Sorry. Which story?
Like I said, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. But that is actually going to be our first topic of discussion. Sony fumbling again.
Yeah.
We're only starting with this topic because, notoriously with our first episode that we released, episode 0, we talked about the horrid catastrophe that was Concord and how that failed miserably within 2 weeks of launch.
Yeah, that was wrong.
And now with the launch, I shouldn't say the launch, the PS5 Pro being announced, and a lot of the fan backlash from that. And I think that fan backlash is warranted. Granted, I will give Sony this. It wasn't all bad because I think like a week before, Astrobot was released. So it could have been a lot worse. It's still bad, but it's not as bad as if they had just come off of Concord. So it's
then straight to this.
It's like we got Concord, that was a trash can. Astrobot, which was received really well, 9s and 9.5s, I believe, all over the board from a bunch of different media outlets and stuff. And it's like, cool. We're at the 1 yard line. We're gonna score a touchdown. Sports analogies for the sports fans out there. Maybe if you're not, then take it with this as you will. But they're at the 1 yard line. It's like, okay, we just had our biggest downfall over with Concord. Astrobot's doing really good. We're headed for like the touchdown. Hey, here's the PS5 and it's $700.
What a fumble.
Well, they fumbled at the 1 yard line.
Well, the PS5, them bringing out the Pro is, I would say, it would be a good thing if they were just bringing out the Pro and they were replacing the actual PS5. If they were doing that, I would say it would continue the good showing they were having with Astrobot, right? Messed up with Concord, went to Astrobot, and then releasing the PS5 Pro. I think that's a good thing. But with the price on it, it just like you said, they fumbled the ball. It's $700. That's not including, what is it not? It doesn't come with a disk drive?
Yeah, so it's not including the disk drive. That's an additional $80 if you want to add that.
And a stand?
Not even the stand. I don't know how much the stand is, but yeah, there's not a vertical stand.
So you can lay it down.
You have to lay it down, which for the people who have PS5s or don't have PS5s, the PS5 is pretty much meant to be like vertically.
Even the design, I don't have PS5, but it looks like it's meant to be stood up.
Yeah, it can be stood up.
Yeah,
that looks way.
It's not that it could be stood up. It should be stood up.
But
it looks
that's
better when it's stood up. If you ever see it on its side, it looks really ugly.
Yeah, it does.
It's mostly because it curves up instead of like just being a flat surface. Like the one thing I will give credit to Sony for that is like it's a different design. We haven't seen something like that like ever. So like I did applaud him at the time for having that design. It's very unique. But that being said, it doesn't look good when it's on its side. It's meant to be vertical. So the fact that this
doesn't it go thin to thick, so
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah, so
it's like slim.
I have one. I have
Yeah.
a PS5. There's like the stand that it uses to stand up.
I've only ever
Also-
seen it standing up. I've never
Yeah,
looked at it standing.
because I have it on my side because I don't have room for it to be vertical. It can be twisted so that it can be put on the side, and like
Yeah, it basically has like these little grip things that
Yeah.
hooks onto like the back, so it's like,
which isn't the most. I mean, like it works, but there's not like a click for it to be like, oh, it's on. It's like you kind of have to guess and
yeah. Whereas like if you had it
yeah.
vertically, there's like a little screw
Yeah.
that screws onto the bottom.
Well, even with that, I mean, that's the. I mean, that's not really the issue of. That's not the big issue.
No, that's not the.
No, the big issue is the price.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the price for what it comes with. The price for like
I don't see-
a little bit of improvement.
It's not even that. When I saw the 700, I thought, oh, people are scalping it for 700.
Oh yeah,
But
no,
that's straight up
yeah,
just
straight-
the
straight
regular
$700.
price.
$300 more, $200.
And it's not even fully. It's without the disk drive, without any of the extras. It's just.
And that's what, but $200 more than the regular PS.
so right now,
PS5.
you can get a PS5 Slim model. It also doesn't come with a disk drive, and that's $450 MSRP. And then you can get a PS5 Slim with the disk drive for $500. And then you have the PS5 Pro that's going to be coming out. That's just $700 out of the back, no disk drive included. If you want the disk drive, $80 extra. With tax, you're looking at over $800.
Yeah.
That's not even
All
including the
combined.
stand.
Yeah.
Not including the stand, it's probably over $800.
That's almost.
Well,
double.
I mean, if you're looking at a $700 price tag, which is $699, right? So you're actually pushing already $800.
Yeah.
By itself, and
Yeah,
then with the disc drive, so it'd be almost $900. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
crazy.
Well, I believe also in, I think it's the European countries, it's actually $799, I believe. So it's actually like 800.
Well, they said the conversion rate in is it UK
You're.
where it's going to be over $1,000
Yeah.
because of the conversion rate.
Yeah.
And it's like nobody's going to pay $1,000 for. I mean, there may be some people, but
Oh, some people are for sure.
Well, here's-
I mean, there were people who paid $1,000 for scalped PS5s. You know, so
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, but that was also during a time when people were just being given money. So people were more accustomed to just spend that money.
Yeah.
I think the problem is, in terms of the price, is that there are people that looking at this being like, "Oh, I'm not going to buy this $700 console." But the fact of the matter is, for most people, this console is not for them. This isn't meant for just Joe Schmo who goes inside Walmart and wants to buy a PS5. You know, this is meant for the people who basically kind of want a PC-like experience in terms of like the graphics quality,
Yeah.
and like the load times and stuff like that.
but if they're kind of phasing out the other PS5s, isn't it sort of meant for them, or are they meant to just buy a Slim?
They're just meant to buy stuff.
I mean, since they're kind of like no disk drive on either one, it's just if you want the better graphics.
Yeah, but that's more indicative of a problem that's a much bigger problem, because at that point, that's the argument of digital versus physical,
Yeah.
which again, that's a much bigger problem. I can make the argument for both of
Yeah.
having physical, having digital. I look at both sides very equally. Obviously, one's convenience,
One's convenience, but one's also, hey, I want to own something.
Yeah.
Because
because
you know,
Because at any time they can just be like,
Yeah.
it doesn't exist.
or
anymore.
you know, what I mean, some people do lose their internet connection,
Yeah.
right? I mean, and
yeah,
you
everyone.
want to be able to have physical copies to be able to play games.
So
But that comes at I mean,
Yeah.
some
but-
games, even
but-
with a physical copy, you have to have internet
yeah, like
connection.
live service games.
Yeah,
Oh.
to be able to play.
well, because a lot of the times now you have physical discs, but it's basically just to install the game, and then it's like, okay, once it's actually installed, well, then it's just kind of using the disc as like a supplementary
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Like theoretically, you're still downloading all the data onto your console. It's just using the disc afterwards
Or will
to run the game.
Or will Fallout 76 happen? When that happened, they had all the physical copies, but it was just a cardboard disc.
Oh, that's true, because it was digital.
Yeah.
Everything was digital on it.
I mean,
Yeah, that's
and that's the sad thing, right? It's like we're moving into a more digital age. Because as somebody who still buys physical games for their Nintendo Switch, like, I don't know, it's just nice to see. You know, I go and I look at my shelf and I see all the games that I have. Like, there's a certain like charm to that. Whereas, like, oh, let me turn on my PS5 and go through my games library.
And do 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 do.
And another problem with that is games are so big now. Like I think this is something we touched on, like a little bit maybe with console. It's just like games are so big, and they take up so much space. And a lot of these consoles now, they're not really shipping out with the most storage. Like when the
What's the PS5 have now?
well,
Like the base-
here's the thing, the original PS5 shipped with like it was technically like I don't even think it was a terabyte. It was like 812, 800 and something gigabytes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think and the reason they put that was because they didn't want to put 1 terabyte because like half of the software or some of the software was taken up by the time. So it's like okay, we'll just like. But I think now all the PS5s have 1 terabyte exactly, and that's kind of like the standard. But even like now, like 1 terabyte, that's like what
six games,
5, 6 games at the most, or like all of Call of Duty. Like,
and the Pro's going to be like what 2 terabytes?
I think it's 2.
2 terabytes, yeah.
Which I granted that's better.
Yeah.
But it's still like.
Yeah, then it forces people to buy the extensions for the.
It does. Like, hey, it does. So earlier is when you said you have the digital copy, you put it on the console, and then you just everything still downloads to the console, right? When you used to just have it, when you used to have to put the disc on there because all the content's saved on the disc, you didn't have to have a 1 terabyte hard drive.
Yeah.
And that's what I think I miss about. I think that's my main point I was trying to get to. I miss that about having a disc drive in consoles, so that way you could own physical copies and not just to have to be like. Because at that point, you're almost, with that, plus like the improvements they're making and the price that they're going up to, it's like you might as well at that point just go and buy a PC. You might as well, or if you have a PC, go and upgrade the video card for a couple $100 instead of spending $800 on a PS5, and you're going to get the same, or if not better sometimes quality. It used to be where consoles were like, I don't know, consoles used to be like the gaming thing, it's like even if you had a PC, there were certain games that worked better on PC, but for the most part, you would,
point and click.
The console, but the consoles were just like, hey, you bought those because they were game. That's where you gamed at. That's where you play all your video games at. And at some point along the line, it's like, well, man, PC can do all of that as well. So consoles should, there should be something different about it. I shouldn't be able to turn on and see the exact same graphics. Or I don't know. That's just my opinion on it. I just believe we should still keep physical copies. We wouldn't have to have such big hard drives because where are they going to go to next? We're at a 2 terabyte. You said maybe on the Pro. So from then it's like where do we go to? Like how bigger of a hard drive is?
The cloud.
Yeah, that's why I'm assuming they want to go, right?
Yeah. Like going off of like kind of like what you were saying, the whole like consoles versus PC. I feel like there was a period in time when I feel like PCs weren't really talked about all much, and then once like I think streaming got really big, that's when PCs like really started to get talked about more. But like the fact of the matter is, in today's day and age, the people who are playing games on their PCs versus the people who are playing games on their consoles, those are two separate types of people.
No, yeah, 100%.
Like the people that are playing their games on the PC, they might classify themselves as like, we're the real gamers. This is, we have our 120 hertz displays and
master PC race.
Yeah, the PC master race. Yeah, that's the whole thing.
But not anymore.
But like, the thing is, right, is that for most people, and again, this is going back to what I was saying, the PS5 Pro is not for you. For most people, it is not for them, and that is because the PS5 Pro is trying to do what PCs are basically doing now. The problem with that is that those pro level settings and those pro level stuff, the average person who's gaming on their consoles don't care about that stuff. They just want something that is easy to turn on. They can play their Madden, they can play their Call of Duties, because that's pretty much what they're playing.
Yeah, they're 2Ks.
They're 2Ks, they're Call of Duties. If you're on your Nintendo consoles, your Zeldas and your Marios.
You expect it to look a little nice too. It looks nice and something to play.
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
It's not going to be, but it's not going to be like they're not going to be like, oh my god, that detail's not. They don't care about that.
Nobody cares about that.
Oh, I can see other hair follicles.
Yeah, like the general person that is out there buying their kid a PS5 console.
They're going to buy a PS5.
They're going to buy just a PS5. Why spend the $200 extra? Like, so don't get me wrong. I'm sure somebody will be like, oh, you're going to need that extra storage, but at that point, you can just buy, a little like solid state drive, and you can just put it in. I did that. I have like I turned my 1 terabyte PS5, and now I put an extra terabyte. Granted, it cost me a bit. It wasn't exactly.
Are you using that extra space?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's like you can just do that.
Yeah.
That's just the thing that you can do. You don't have to buy a whole new console. To do that. And then at the end of the day, games we're kind of hitting this plateau of like how good and how realistic things can be and how good they can run. We're kind of at that weird point with like game and technology where it's like I don't know if it's going to get any better than it already is. You know, it might be a few more years before we get like super hyper realism. You know, because I go back and I look at the comparison video that I did. It's like, oh, here's PS5 Pro running at fidelity mode, and then here's the PlayStation running at fidelity mode, and the PS5 Pro running just as itself. And it's like, yeah, to the trained eye, you can tell the difference. You know, I saw a lot of people saying it's like, oh, you can barely notice the difference. Like, well, yeah, like to the average person, you're not gonna be able to tell the difference. But like, I saw the video, you saw the video, and it's like, yeah, we can tell the difference. Yeah. But like, we're actively looking for those differences. It's like when people when the new iPhones come out and they're like, now they're still running the 60 hertz display. Even the iPhone 16, it's about to come out, still has a 60 hertz display, and it's just like to the average person, you know, most people aren't gonna care, but most people can't even tell. Like, you could show a random old lady, it's like, hey, this is 120 hertz, this is 60 hertz. Can you tell the difference? They're not gonna know. But you and me and Vic, like, we can tell. And the PS5 Pro is not for the people who can't tell. They're not gonna be able to tell the difference. They're not gonna care about the difference. Like, don't get me wrong. Are there gonna be people that like want that, fidelity and they want the performance? Yeah, but those people were probably gonna buy it anyways.
Yeah. And the Pros it basically already has fidelity turn on, right? It's just built in.
Yeah, it's basically you're not choosing anymore. It's like you want performance or do you want it to look good. Now it's just kind of like baked in together with like AI. AI is basically doing it.
That's right.
Like all the work.
So it's gonna look better. But that's pretty much all. I mean, it's that and their take away a disk drive. I mean, that's not. What do you think? Do you think that's like? What do you think about the whole 30th anniversary stuff?
This is me putting on my tinfoil hat. I just think it's very. Here's the thing. I think they're going to do it anyways. I just find it very convenient that they do it in lieu of all of this controversy.
Yeah.
Which, granted, is very smart, right? It's like, hey, it's like a baby's crying. It's like, oh, hey, here's the jiggled keys in front of them, and get them distracted. Hey, look at our shiny new stuff. And granted, the 30th anniversary stuff looks real good.
Yeah, it looks good.
It looks real. I'm probably gonna get a DualSense Edge.
So for those who haven't gone too deep into the 30th anniversary, what's that?
So it's basically they did it with the 20th anniversary, I believe, with the PS4.
Yeah.
It's basically like a reskin of the PS5 and the PS5 Pro.
Makes it look like the original.
Makes it look like the original PlayStation, which
it's all gray.
It's all great. The PlayStation logo is the red, yellow.
PS, yeah.
Same thing with the controllers. It's like the gray and has the colored PlayStation logo.
And
they look real slick.
Is the new Edge controller, is that new too?
Is that
just a revamp?
It's a reskin. The original was like white and black.
That's the only thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't own it. I kind of want one. But now I might just wait for the DualSense Edge with the 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's like they look real slick, so it was just natural that we were going to get distracted. Because like it was one of those things where like I was reading the article, it was like IGN, and it takes you into the blog post that Sony made, and it's like, oh yeah, look at all their 30th anniversary stuff, and they're doing the most with it because even the boxes for those products are reminiscent really of the PlayStation box, the original, and those one of the things like I had a PlayStation. Like the PS1, it's one of the ones. Actually, not the original, but like the PS1,
the white one.
Yeah, it was the white and the circular one. But I honestly think that the original PlayStation console is one of the nicest consoles I've ever seen.
Rectangle.
Like, the rectangle, the blocky.
Looked really nice.
It just looks so slick. It's the way I feel about that is the way I feel about like the N64.
Oh,
when that first came out, what I really loved about it is when you push the disc open and it just the smoothness, you get a click and it was just like that is so nice. I mean, for being a young kid, it was like
that's awesome. Cool. It's like I said, it's like they're again in lieu of all of this. It's like sometimes it feels like they are actually trying.
Yeah.
Like I said, the boxes look reminiscent of the original. Even the USB-C adapter for the DualSense controller has the little end thing that looks like the actual PlayStation, like when you plug it into the actual.
But it's really just a cover, right?
Yeah, it's basically a cover with a USB-C. But still, they didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
And it looks pretty sick. Now, my only complaint with that is that I think it's you can only get that if you buy the console, which that's kind of like
Yeah.
But like I also kind of get it because like it would look kind of weird if you had
On a regular,
like a
regular console.
So like part of me gets it. But like say you buy the console, right, and it comes with that, but then you buy another 30th anniversary controller. Well, now only the one has the little end piece, so the other one's gonna look real weird. But
that's true.
But granted, those people are gonna be
Well,
playing
doesn't it come
wireless
with 4 of them? It says it came with 4 of them or 2 of them
for what?
of the little plug-in things. The little
No, it only comes with one. It comes with like 4. I didn't know what they were, but they're like wraps.
The wraps for the cords, right?
cables. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I looked at those, I was like, what the heck are these? This
Yeah,
is so weird.
yeah.
And then I finally saw the picture. I was like, oh, they're like a little cable wrapper.
And the bundle's basically going to come with. Have you seen the bundle or no?
No.
It's the PS5 Pro. It says it's the regular controller, a DualSense Edge controller, DualSense Edge controller, a charging station.
Okay.
And then those little tie things, and so it's just like, yeah, but how much is that going to be? You know, like if the PS Pro is $700.
Yeah.
Well, Grant, here's the thing. If the PS5 Pro is $700 and a DualSense Edge controller is $200, it's going to be well over $900.
Yeah,
probably close to like $1,000.
Yeah.
Do you think they would hit the $1,000 range?
Yeah.
So.
If they're gonna put in the Pro in there.
Look, if Apple,
don't you think that will just create more hostility towards play?
Look, if Apple is comfortable enough to sell like a MacBook Pro for $2,000, and it's basically the same as the generation before it, I don't think Sony is too opposed of selling all of that bundled in together for $1,000.
But Apple's already been expensive. That's not a. And most of the MacBooks are between $2,000 to $3,000.
Yeah, but Sony's also the company that sold the original PlayStation 3 for like $500, $600 at the time.
That was really expensive,
that was considered a big fail.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they've since learned from that, which is why I look at this PlayStation.
Well, it makes no sense. I don't know if they've really learned from it.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I look at this PlayStation.
They're doing it again.
Yeah, they're basically doing it again.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I think we've kind of run the course on this PlayStation topic. Let us know if you guys have any thoughts and opinions on it. We would love to hear it. But yeah, with that said, let's just move on to the next topic, which is kind of involving this Bidoof here, weirdly. And it's with the Pokemon Company and Nintendo. They are officially now suing Palworld for patent infringement. Not copyright infringement. That is a completely separate thing that they are not suing them over, which is kind of weird.
I think they gave up on that specific.
Oh, that's one of those things where it's like, you know, if people are allowed to make fan art, but like you can say that's a completely different fan art between something where it's being put in the game and they're making money off of it.
Yeah.
Well, I think the copyright thing would be a lot harder to prove. I mean, granted, if you show anybody, you just side by side every creature in the game on Palworld, you can pretty much find a creature in Pokemon that resembles that. Now, I mean, it's not just a recolor. It is a little bit different. So like this tail may be to the right, and the other one's a little more polygonal to the left. Okay, so
it's just different enough.
They could, they would have to argue that in court, and arguing that in court for years, I don't think they're going to spend the money to go after them for that.
No.
So when they said patent, right? Yeah, they're taking them for patents. Like, but what patents? Nobody really knows what.
Yeah. So which
one it is.
The word on the street from the informants and enthusiasts, they're saying it's the patent on capturing monsters and balls. Specifically, I think in like fields or just like the outside world, which if that's
did they say they patented that technology?
I think they patent the mechanic.
That's the thing. This year.
That's what I've never heard of. I didn't know you could patent a mechanic.
Yeah. Apparently it's a thing. That's the thing.
Well, because I know one of the previous companies that they went after, and because Nintendo sues. Oh. When they sue people, they win, right? Usually. Yeah. So. Not usually, all the time.
While giant corporations sue somebody and win, that's crazy.
So, but the companies that they went after, one of the patent things that they sued them for was, I was watching a video on it, and that's why it made me remember it. Something about a character being behind a tree, and that creating a shadow.
Yeah.
Showing what showing the viewer. Or of the enemy or whatever it was, they actually have the patent on that. Nintendo does. I did not know that. So that means every company, World of Warcraft, I mean any place where you can hide behind a tree and create a shadow, that's they had the patent on that.
Yeah.
And so they actually sued a company for that and like 2 other patents, and they won. And it was just like there was just something. The other 2 were almost as ridiculous as that. It was like I had never heard of before you being able to patent like a game mechanic that was just that's not even specific. That's general, right? I mean,
that's so general.
Yeah, like maybe that's like saying like, oh, okay, well
Unless,
this game you can place a house this way. They can patent that. I did not know.
Unless it's worded very specifically.
Like if they word it the same.
Yeah, like if like, oh yeah, studying me have a tree and creating a shadow in like a field 3 miles out of a village, right? Like
I remember one of the other ones. Now that you said that,
what?
When you pause a game and you bring it back, and it says, "Would you like to resume this game?" I don't know. Don't quote me. I don't know if that's the exact phrase, but it was something to that effect. Would you like the game to resume, or would you like to resume the game? And between saying that and then choosing the yes or no,
Yeah,
that's patented by Nintendo.
Really?
And that was in the other game, and that was part of the reason that they sued as well. There was like 3 or 4 patents that they sued for on that game, and they won for these patents. I don't remember the name of the game, but
that's a little ridiculous.
I was like, that's kind of yeah. Now I may be wrong. I mean, I've seen 2 different videos on that, so I think that's correct, but I know it was just some kind of ridiculous patent. So it was like that's so if they're doing that, they're going to be able to go after Power World for
sure
catching up, a monster. Are there any other games that have catching monsters like that? Like in a because I mean, Power World's like a big globe. Do you ever play it?
Power World?
No. It's like a globe. It looked like a globe on screen, and I don't. It wasn't. I guess you could say it's exactly like it, but it's not. I mean,
if you're talking about like actually like how the game like functions, yeah, I know how it functions.
Yeah.
Like I've seen gameplay. I've never played it.
But other than that, I mean, it's your creature walks around and kills stuff with you. I mean, you have machine guns and stuff. It's not it's not Pokemon. I mean, but
because you can also be a part of the fight.
What do you mean,
like
you can like you have like because I think you can also like equip weapons.
Yeah, like you can also
it's you and your creature going out and killing stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can turn them into slaves doing your work for you. I mean,
that's basically what it is. But obviously, this is more indicative of like a bigger issue when it's like, should game mechanics be patented at all?
Yeah, that's
because when you talk about patenting gaming mechanics, it kind of like stifles. Like, thank you, stifles. Words are hard, but it like stifles. It stifles creativity, and it halts people from being able to make the games that they want.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, I really want to do this, and we can incorporate this. It's like, oh, we can't do that because Nintendo patented. We tough luck. Just better luck next time.
Yep.
Think of something else. And that's really that's not cool. Looking at this situation, it's like, does Pokemon and Nintendo have the right to do what they're doing? Yes, I think they do. Do I agree with what they're doing? No. And I don't think a lot of people will agree with them.
Yeah.
Well, because every other company has the right to do it as well, right? I mean,
yeah.
They were just the first to do those specific things. Yeah. So,
but like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. This is such a nothing burger. Like, it's like, okay, cool. They're catching pals and balls, and they're using them to fight other pals. Whoop-de-doo. Before we started recording this, we were just having a general discussion, and I was talking to Vic about how Sega is so cool about letting the fans of Sonic just like mod their games and make them better. And it's like you wouldn't see Nintendo or Pokemon do. They are so protective,
notoriously with emulators.
Yeah, so protective with their IPs. Like it was like a few months ago that they started shutting down all those big ROM sites.
Yeah.
And it's just like, as somebody who cares about like, and this, I'm going on such a staying on topic here, right? But like video game preservation, it's real.
It is.
And it's like sometimes they don't do anything about it. And just like,
yeah, I think it was the biggest one was Vimslayer. They shut down like thousands and thousands of ROMs, and it was just like, you've left it open for 15 years. I mean, and it's just like just out of the blue, like, oh well, hey, you can't do this anymore. And it's like these people, most of the people that have ROMs have the original games. Most of the people or they'll play a game and then go, buy a physical copy. Some people don't. I totally get that.
Yeah, there are people who just like they'll just rip a ROM off of the internet and they'll play it.
Yeah.
But again, that's more indicative of like they just can't find the game. Maybe they don't have the console that the game was originally for.
Yeah.
Maybe the game just and that's mostly what the case is. The game is just too expensive. Like the game is just so pricey. Like,
Sure.
like would you rather go on to some ROM site? And I'm not advocating for piracy or anything like that. I'm just stating a fact. We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
But it's like, would you rather do that? And I'm going to talk specifically about Pokemon for this one. It's like, would you like for Pokemon Emerald, right? Would you rather go and download the ROM and just play it on your computer, or go hope that you have a Game Boy Advance? Buy Pokemon Emerald for like $250. That's basically what it's going for on eBay, you know, and then just play it authentically.
Yeah.
You know, and more importantly, hope that your Pokemon Emerald copy doesn't have a dry battery. You know, because that's another thing about the older games is like sometimes they have a dry battery and they don't save, and it's just like, well, now I just bought this game, now I have to buy a replacement battery, but
also ordering from eBay, you're taking a risk.
Yeah.
I mean, what if you don't get the game?
Yeah, it's so, like, it can be sketchy sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if the company that made the game isn't actively trying to make it easier for people to play the games, then I don't know, piracy sometimes it kind of feels okay.
Yeah.
You know, especially if like the services that you're offering aren't like super good. Jumping off of this piracy thing, because I kind of like this conversation a lot.
Hell yeah.
You look at like Crunchyroll, and it seems like so many people have a problem with Crunchyroll and how the website functions, and you know, they took away the comment section recently, and the UI, and you know, they had the merger with Funimation, and a lot of people who had stuff on Funimation just lost the stuff that they had bought, and it's just like you as a company, you're doing all these things, and it's actively hurting your consumers.
Yeah.
And then you like wonder, it's like, why aren't they subscribing to our service? Like,
yeah, well, because I mean,
it's like, yeah, because you're not actively doing anything about it. It's like
a bad service, you get bad.
The reason that they didn't even actually give a full reason. I think it was a fake reason for like why they took the comment section away. It's like a lot of people actually, granted, a lot of the comments on there were, you know, pretty stupid, but some of them were, you know, a lot of people had debates and talks, and you know, shared their experiences with each other about the episode. But now they just take that elsewhere. You know, now they're on other places, and I mean, there's lots of other places to go watch anime, and it's just like, why are they losing viewership? I mean,
well, I think the official reason why they took it away was because there was one specific anime.
Yeah.
That was, I think it was like a boys love anime, and you know, the people who like.
Well, I understand their reasoning. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, the people, they come and hate comment because people hate gays apparently, and it's just like, oh, and that's basically what it was. We love the gays.
Yeah. We're allies.
But yeah, we're allies.
There you go.
But like, instead. Oh god.
You said it.
Oh, so what?
Against me, boy.
But I mean, at that point, they could have just banned the account.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah, they could have just.
No, here's the thing, right? Instead of Crunchyroll paying for moderators to moderate the comment section,
true.
Let's just not have a comment section.
Yeah.
That way, we don't have to worry about comments like that, and we don't have to pay people to moderate the comments. At the end of the day, it's all business.
It's money.
Yeah, it's money is business, right? And again, do I think it was a smart decision? No, because like there's genuine people who want to have discussions.
Yep.
And Crunchyroll was the easiest way of doing that. Now, did I use the comment section? No, because most of the time it's just like, you know,
I would search it sometimes just to get a synopsis of the episode, see if I was going to enjoy the show. Sometimes there's not a new show coming on.
I don't know.
There's no other. I didn't want to go search for it, so I just go in the comment section and look. And sometimes it made me watch a show, and sometimes it maybe did not.
I don't know. When it comes to like, oh, I want to watch a specific anime and I want to see what everybody else thought about specific anime, I usually just go to Reddit, because they'll usually have like episode 9 discussion thread, and just say, or like even for manga.
Yeah, I guess all Crunchyroll did was push all the commenters into
Reddit and Discord, and
yeah, that's basically where they are now.
Yeah.
You can argue that's probably where they've been. But yeah, it's just like companies these days, they seem so anti-consumer sometimes.
They're disconnected. That's why.
Yeah, because you know, maybe they're making too much money, and you know, they just don't care about how the people that are taking in their products consume it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm gonna go back to Nintendo. It's like, they're trying. You know, they have the Nintendo Online service, and it's like, if you have the base tier, you can play NES, Super NES, and Game Boy games, whatever they have on their Nintendo Switch Online library.
Yeah.
But if you want to pay $50 a year, you can get N64, Sega Genesis, and Game Boy Advance. And I'm not gonna say regularly update, but they put more games every few months.
Yeah, they rotate them.
Yeah, well, no, they don't rotate. They add them.
They just add them.
They just add them.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's good.
I thought they rotated.
Cool. It's a cool idea. And here's the thing: I don't mind paying for that service because here's the thing: I was probably gonna pay for it anyways because I want to play online on some of the games, and now it's just like an added thing. Now, if they were to be like, "Hey, we're not doing the service anymore," and like you could just buy the games that were on it, like say I wanted to buy an N64 game, I want to play Pokemon Stadium, and they're like, "Okay, we're not doing the service anymore, but you can buy Pokemon Stadium 2 on the Switch Online store. It's like $30, whatever." I'd also be okay with that because you're giving me a way to play these games.
Yeah.
But like sometimes, there's a lot of games like, and this is more indicative of the times. People get nostalgic over certain types of games at certain periods of time. Like we just got through like the N64 and like Sega Genesis and all that, and now people are getting real nostalgic for GameCube and Wii. Like those are the two. Those are like the two systems that are like super nostalgic games. The games for those, in terms of prices, have gone up. I've seen it because I just bought a ton of Sonic games for the GameCube.
Yeah,
they weren't exactly cheap. And I don't think it helps that the Sonic Movie 3 is coming out, which I'm very excited for.
Right?
So those are also going up. But yeah, it's just like all of these problems could be fixed, and more importantly, the companies would they'd make the money. It's not like if it's like, oh, we're gonna make this. Why would anybody want to play these old games? Like just play all the new ones and pay $70 for the new ones. And it's like, well,
some people like the old games. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just want to, you don't want to be online. You just want to pop in an old game, have fun for an hour or two, and just reminisce. Hell, I mean, there are a lot of great games that you can't access anymore unless you're, unless they're offering it like on Nintendo, which we have just the basic one, for Super Nintendo and Nintendo and whatever. And I had been debating getting the other one because it was just like, I mean, it's $50 for the year, right?
Yeah, for the year.
Yeah.
Which is a good deal.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Like a lot of games.
Like even if you do like the monthly just base tier, I think it's like $2.99.
Yeah, $2.99.
It's like ridiculously cheap. Whereas you see freaking Xbox and Sony, it's like $16.99 a month.
Yeah,
like for like just their
and
service.
they rotate games. That's a whole nother thing. But like them rotating games in and out of Game Pass, that's half of the time that has made me not want to play games because there's been a couple throughout the years and you get really into them and it's like, oh look, and you got a week's time to
it'll soon be leaving.
It's like, oh my god, no, now I'm gonna have to go buy this game and like you go search for it. And
and then they do the thing where it's like, hey, we're taking this thing off Game Pass, and it kind of sucks, but we saw that you were playing the game and you can buy it at like a reduced price.
Yeah,
because that happened to me. I saw. And this is why I don't have Game Pass anymore. Mostly because I'm on PlayStation now. But like at the time, I was like, "Oh, this is stupid." At one point in time, they had all the Yakuza games on there.
Oh,
and I was like, I'm gonna play all the Yakuza games because like I hear they're really good and they seem fun. And I started. I think it was I was doing them in the story order. So I was starting with 0.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna start with 0. And I got like maybe like a few hours in, and then like literally the week after I started wanting to go on this journey, article comes out. It's like, oh yeah, Yakuza games are leaving Game Pass, along with a bunch of other games. And I'm just like, here's the thing. At the end of the day, it's probably like a licensing thing, right? They probably only have the license for
so long.
But that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Like,
what happened with Black Desert? I played Black Desert strictly on. I wanted to play it before. I used to play it before on PC.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my god, it came to Game Pass. That was freaking cool. It was a fun game. And then I played it up until the week before it said when they announced it, like, oh, it's leaving Game Pass. It's like, well, I'm not gonna go and buy it again just to play it, again. So,
well, not even that, but like, I don't know. To me, the idea of Game Pass is one of those things where it's like you look at it, it's like, oh wow, that's a really good deal. But like in actuality, like, yeah, it's a good deal. But like, how many of those games are you actually playing?
It's a good deal if you play all the games.
Yeah,
it's a good deal if you just play this.
If you're playing like 5 to 10 games, it's a decent deal because it's only like $16.
Yeah, but I also feel like a lot of the people that have Game Pass, they're not really using it for Game Pass. They're using it for Xbox Live, and they're just getting the Game Pass like on top of it.
That's true.
Because it's like oh, I could get Game Pass for, or I can get Xbox Live for like $10, but I can get Live with Game Pass for 15.
Which I have an issue with.
That's true with most people though, but I mean like there are some. It depends on the games, all right. Like some of the AAA games that are on actual, especially like how Xbox is their day one stuff now. You can only access it if you have Game Pass or Game Pass Ultimate or whatever it is. And so it's like now it used to be like what you're saying, but like now I mean with them having like was it like Final Fantasy 14?
Yeah.
Diablo 4.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of games. It's like at that level. I mean, you're gonna pay the Game Pass instead of just going out and buying the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially with like something like Final Fantasy because you know you don't have to buy the game and pay the Final Fantasy fees per month and pay the Game Pass per month and you know. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
But he was going to go on like a separate topic of like
the whole like pay. How much is live?
I think live is 10. I want to say
10.
$9.99.
I have a real issue with that. Like
with the price or just like
just having to pay to play online.
Yeah, I can see that. I had that problem too because I was on this is back when it was the 360 and the PS3. Xbox you had to pay for Xbox Live, but PS3 you could just play online. You didn't have to pay for nothing.
Yeah.
And then once the PS4 came out, they're like, oh, you got to pay to play online. And I was
well, the beginning of the PS4 wasn't it? There was no charge for a little bit at the very beginning.
Honestly, I don't remember. I think it was charged from the beginning.
I can remember there were some games like on Xbox. I don't know if it was. Was it like that on Nintendo too now? To be able to play the live, you have to have the $2.99 on some games, right? Is that on some and not the others? Not some others, or
I think in order to play online now, you have to have Nintendo Switch on it.
okay.
But that wasn't the case.
Like it wasn't the case before, right? Like
yeah, I think when the Switch launched, you could just play online.
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't until they started NSO.
Oh, okay.
When they were like, hey, you got to pay for it.
Okay.
But again, $2.99.
Yeah, no, it's still cheaper. Still, still way cheaper.
Like $2.99 compared to $9.99.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's like, oh, you can only play online. It's like, no, you can play online, and then we'll give you Nintendo. And at the time, I think it was just the NES games.
Yeah.
For $2.99 a month or $20 for the year.
And granted, I mean, I don't mind the whole. I really don't mind the whole Ultimate Game Pass because when you have multiple devices, so like having Ultimate Game Pass, you get the live, you get the games, and they rotate them or whatever, but you also get PC Game Pass. And so a lot of the games that are on there on PC Game Pass, I play as well. And without having to go and buy those games as well, it's like, okay, well, $16 a month is not bad if I don't buy any games throughout the year. Yeah. So I'm just spending the $16 a month, and I get to use PC Game Pass. And then if I, like right now I don't have an Xbox, but if I had the Xbox, I could use it on that. And like my son on his PC can use PC Game Pass on his, or on his account, because we share, so it's just like, it's not bad. I mean, if that's all you do. But I mean, if you're there buying games as well, plus, and yeah.
I just have a huge issue for people charging you to do something that should be free.
Well, to access the game. Oh, so they made the game to be able to be played on the internet, but now you have to pay to be able to play it.
Yeah, that's a little ridiculous.
I agree. Some yeah.
But I mean, that's just a personal.
Extent,
yeah, it's just a personal thing. I don't know if anybody else has an issue with that. But
I used to, but over the years, I've come to, with I think going back to the 16, like paying just one fee a month, used to, after games hit the $60 threshold, then $70 threshold, and it was just like, I'm older, so I'm remembering when the games came out and it was, it's $49.99. It's like, oh my god, I miss those days.
Yeah.
And but so it's just like, what, I'll pay a monthly fee. And just,
I don't know. I think for me, one of the bigger things about it is like, it's like, yeah, you get access to all of these games, but like only like a handful of them are actually like decent.
Yeah.
Like, because a lot of it just feels like shovelware.
It is. I felt 2 months ago, me and my son, we were playing Overcooked.
Yeah.
That was pretty fun.
Yeah, it's a great game.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that like all of it's trash. I'm just saying like
no, it's not that good of a game, but I'm saying it was fun. Like I don't know, it just. Like I said, you have to be picky and choosy with it.
It's like there's that EA Play subscription. It's like you get all the EA games. It's like, oh, cool, I get like 14 different versions of Madden.
You get Madden, you get FIFA, you get.
Yeah, but it's still 14 different versions of each.
Whoa,
like,
we get
Battlefront. You get Battlefront.
You get 14. 14's an exaggeration. I'm just trying to make
Battlefield. I mean, if you're a Battlefield fan, too, that's great too. That's what I'm saying. So it's not bad.
Yeah, but that's an extra subscription.
No, but you get to use EA if you have the Ultimate Game Pass.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
It's free. It's included. So that's what I'm saying. That's another reason we use Game Pass. So, um, but I wouldn't have Game Pass if I was actively buying games every month.
Yeah.
You know, and so
See, and I think that's where we differ. Because again, I'm on Nintendo, and you can't play Nintendo games on anything other than Nintendo thing.
true. Okay.
So I'm more inclined to like the new Zelda games coming out. Echoes of Wisdom, the one we get to play as Zelda. And,
Oh,
um,
I didn't know that.
yeah, it's coming out on Thursday at the time of this recording. Which by the time this is uploaded, it's probably already released. But yeah, I'm super excited for the game, and it's going to be $60, and I'm probably just going to buy it. But that's because I'm a Nintendo fanboy. I always this is what I always tell people. It's like I'm a Nintendo show. Like I know we just talked about Power World and all this stuff, but like Nintendo make game, I buy. You know? Like,
yeah.
like
no,
it's like you can slap any Nintendo. You can put Kirby, Mario, Zelda, Link, freaking Samus. Like I'll buy it. Like why not? Like now, granted, there are some times when they do that and I don't buy it because I'm just like it doesn't really appease me, you know. Or like I wait for like general consensus, and then I'll buy it later. Like,
well, do you ever buy them just without taking a look first, like without taking? Okay.
John, half of the games that are on my shelf right now, I have never played.
You just got them?
I just got them. Like I get name all the games right now that I think I have on my shelf that I've never played. The Metroid Prime remaster, I opened it and never played it. The Advanced Wars 1 and 2, Reloaded, opened it and never played it. I think I have like two Kirby games I've never bothered playing. It was the remake of Return to Dreamland, and
Return to Dreamland was fun.
Another one, I haven't played it. I have the collector's edition for Fire Emblem. It's not Awakening. What is it? The most recent, not Three Houses, but the one that came after that.
Sure.
In the box has a cool art book. It has a steel book. It came with like some tarot cards that because I pre-ordered it. I haven't touched it. It's just sitting on my thing. Bayonetta 3, bought the big deluxe set, haven't played it. That's why I tell people it's like I'm a game collector. I don't play games. I just collect them for the shelf, bro. But yeah, it's I don't know. Games I think are meant to. Granted, I'm going to contradict myself, but like games are meant to be played. Yeah. Games are meant to be shared and have like those experiences. So going back to like the original thing we were talking about before we got into this, I think people should just have access to that. Like if I want to go home and I want to play Kirby's Air Ride for the Nintendo GameCube, I should have the right to do that. I shouldn't have to go out and buy a GameCube and buy the game and it totaling up to like $100 and something.
Yeah.
I should just be able to have a way of playing that game like on my own. I'm not saying it should be like a free way. I'm not saying it should be a paid way. It's probably
you should just have access.
You should just have access to it.
Okay.
And it's and again, it's like these companies, they can make money if they do it.
Well, companies prove that, right? Because look at all the free games out there. I think this is the reason that, and what we've been talking about, it's a lot of the reason that free to play games. Now we all know that they're not free, and you end up spending most of the time more money on those free to play games than you would just going and buying a $60 game.
Yeah,
I've been there many times. But being a free to play game, most people will gravitate towards that because and even if they're not good. Last time we talked about, I play Smite. Friend here plays Smite. It's not a great game. It has cool looking skins, flashy. It's nice. Looks pretty. It's a decent MOBA. It's okay. But it's free. If I wanted to, I just play it. I don't have to.
As a rule of thumb, I have never bought a skin in that game. I have tons.
Oh,
just from doing stuff.
Oh, you've had a battle pass though?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all the money you've ever spent, battle pass. What?
No, but that's from free gems.
Oh wow!
From just logging in, because every week if you log in for like 7 days, it gives you free gems.
Well, see, but you play it because it's free, right?
Because it's free.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So, like, look at Apex. It got insanely huge, right? But it's a free game. I mean, you can spend a crap load of money on it, but it's a free game.
It's a free game, yeah.
It's not the greatest 3-person battle royale, but I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, it's free.
Well, here's the thing, right? At a certain point, it's like you spend so much time in a game, you'll probably just convince yourself it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you're so invested in it, you probably don't care.
Yeah.
Like I've seen that recently. Going back to again what we were talking about last week with me and Overwatch, it's like some people were thinking about jumping ship over to Marvel Rivals, just because it's new, it's innovative.
So which one?
Marvel Rivals.
Marvel Rivals.
Oh, okay.
Because it's new and it's innovative and it's doing all these things, and people are like, I don't know, they're kind of tired of Overwatch, and it's just like some people want to make that jump, but they don't want to have to learn a whole new game
Right.
because that's going to take time and effort, and it's going to be a longer stride than if they just stayed on the same game that they're already good at.
That's true.
They have to get back.
I can see that way of thinking, but also, I mean, if you really look at it, might be a bad opinion on my part, but I don't like the way Marvel Rivals looks. I don't.
Is it because it's cel shaded?
Probably.
Because I don't.
Not everything is cel shaded though, right? Just the characters.
I think it's just the characters.
Yeah.
But like I can understand that because I'm not a big fan of cel shading either. I just think I think cel shading on anything but like a comic book kind of just looks weird. It's just not for me. I remember back when I was working at a local game store, we got like a shipment of the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Pink Ranger, and it was like her with like some cel shading like on the figure, and I'm like, this looks ugly.
Yeah.
I was like, this looks trash. Like this doesn't look like who would want this over just a regular Pink Ranger action figure.
Anytime a game comes out or some new kind of thing comes out, or I was watching one of the, I don't know if it was Gamescom or might have been one of the OTK ones or something. They're showing an indie game, and it's like, oh, this is cool, like pixel shading, and it's like it looks like crap. Like every time you try to, maybe they think it's being cool, or like what's another one? God, not Pixel, but not Voxel. There's another way of them doing a. They're just trying to redo an older art style to make it new and fresh and look, make it and put it in the game. I don't like when they do that. I mean, it's just, especially when the rest of the game doesn't like if they made Rivals the entire game pixel shaded or like that cartoon, that kind of drawn look.
See, I don't mind that because one of the games that I think the term you were looking for was I think they coined it 2D HD.
Maybe that's it.
Or
HD.
Yeah, it's basically like you take a 2D pixel art style and then you kind of like.
I don't know why vector.
I
don't know why I said voxel. When they vector.
They like have shadows and everything around it is kind of like a 3D, not like 3D rendering, but it's like it just looks more realistic instead of just being like a flat thing and just kind of going like you can look at it like have you ever seen Octopath Traveler?
Yeah,
that's 2D.
Yeah.
I personally really like that style.
I don't mind that,
but like that's because I think pixel art is just I love pixel.
Well, no, that's fine. That's fine. I'm just like they're bringing. I'm just.
Cell shading is very specific. Like it
yeah.
looks good,
but not on a game that's going to be like
yeah.
It's going to be competitive. Sometimes cell shading in games, or like when you try to change colors in games. The only one I can bring up is like I say, I watch a lot of stupid Smite. They made Smite 2, and a lot of the moves and a lot of the characters and the skins in there are very bright, very outlandishly bright. Like the greens are like super neon. And the reds are almost pinkish. You see, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the moves, sometimes it's like hard to see what's going on.
Yeah.
So, especially when you have games, and that doesn't have to be Smite, whatever games. Whenever you have stuff like that, it makes it hard to see, especially for someone I don't have good eyesight. It just makes me not want to play it. I don't know.
No, I mean that's fair.
Yeah. So before we get on to our next segment, I just want to bring up another thing. Do you guys care about how a game looks?
Yes.
Ooh.
Because like I had another coworker that worked at local game store with me, who just refused to or I shouldn't say refused. He just hated games on the Switch because he thought that they looked bad, like all the time.
But did he play those same games on different consoles?
No.
Oh, okay.
He looked at like stuff like Breath of the Wild, and like those types of Nintendo games. He's like, God, these look disgusting.
Well, Breath of the Wild was its own the way the
no, but I think he just preferred because there was another game they were showing promos for. I think it might have been it was Triangle Strategy, which was similar in vein to like Octopath Traveler, and it's just like again it's that 2D pixel HD, or 2D HD, and it was something I really enjoyed. He's like, why would anybody want to play that? Like it looks old, and I'm like, oh.
I don't have a problem with it looking old.
No, to an extent, I do. Like if the game, Like, would you play an Atari game right now?
I play Atari games right now.
Okay, well that's bad. Would you play an Atari game?
Ooh.
Like, if somebody came up to you right now and they're like, play E.T., would you do it?
I have within the past 5 years. I can say
Jesus
that.
Christ, you're showing me.
E.T.
Okay, but this is all bad
Yard's
stuff.
Revenge. There's a lot of good Atari games out there.
But like what I'm saying is like, would you play something like that over like The Witcher 3?
Over it, I don't know. Probably not. But I mean,
for me, it depends.
but also it has to,
Because the only reason
the game has to interest you to be.
the only reason I'm using The Witcher 3 is because like that was that person's favorite game. It's like their favorite game of all time.
God.
So like they see the stuff that's on the Switch and they're like, God, why would anybody want to play anything like that? And you can have these like really cool looking games.
That's really weird. I mean, The Witcher 3 looks good, but it doesn't look that good.
I've never played it.
I mean, it's not. It reminds me. Did you have another before I go on a little tangent?
No, because I'm trying to think, because the whole if how it looks, for me it depends, because I don't mind if a game looks like God of War Ragnarok, or it looks, feel like it looks good, like you can see they're very realistic or whatever, versus something like what's a good pixelated game that was just made recent.
Oh, God.
I mean, it's not really pixelated, but as you could, you go get like Cult of the Lamb.
Yeah, I guess
That's like the most
that.
like. Again, it's not pixelated, but it's kind of like a 2D.
Or something like Undertale, because we were just
yeah,
talking
Undertale
about,
is good example.
like Undertale, right? That's all of that is pixelated, but I would probably play that over Overwatch or something.
Because here's the thing, right? Inherently, how the game looks.
But is that also because you would tend to play that more than like a FPS? Is that more some of the reason?
Oh, I guess so. What's another good a game?
Well, say like The Witcher or Assassin's Creed. Would you rather play Assassin's Creed or Undertale?
Yeah,
Assassin's Creed has better graphics.
Yeah,
but I feel like at that point it's the difference of games.
It's a difference in games.
Oh, okay, so you're okay. I get what
Because here's the thing, right? And it's going back to what I was about to say. Inherently, you have to care about what the game looks like to a degree.
To a degree,
right? It's not like you're not like because like it's the whole thing with like books, right? You go, it's like you go to the bookstore, you go to the book, whatever section you want. It's like, oh, this book looks really nice. I'm interested. You go home, you take it, and you read it. You're like, that's a good book. Or, oh, this book is trash. Right? Inherently, you go to any game store, Walmart, or any place that sells games. You're like, oh, this game looks interesting. Oh, that looks cool. I'm gonna go home and play. So like inherently, you have to kind of care what it looks like, but does what it look like matter more over something like gameplay?
Well,
story?
that depends on the time, and I mean time like as far as what year and what age we're in, what kind of age of gaming we're in. Because back 20 years ago, right? You had to do exactly that. You had to go to the bookstore to go buy that book. You had to go to Walmart or wherever else, Toys R Us or showing my age, wherever you had to go find the game. And sometimes you pick it up and you actually, I mean, I've been there before. You turn around and look, okay, cool. You find a PC game? Damn, it used to be hard to find a PC game. You had to go to the store, you go buy your copy of, say, World of Warcraft or Command and Conquer or whatever you're going to buy, and you turn around and read the synopsis and what it's about. Same like console games. But now I think it's a little bit different in this day and age because you don't have to really do that anymore. Because if you're going to buy a game, well, one, ads are shoved in our face so much, we're not having to go out there and look for games anymore. Where, ads are like, it's like you're going to see the thing so many times, even before the game trailer comes out. You're going to know 5 months ahead of time that a game is coming out, and you're sitting there waiting for that trailer to see if it looks good, to see if you're going to possibly go and buy the game when it comes out. So there's no more like, hey, go on and look at. I wish most of it would be like that, because that's freaking awesome, because you get to experience. Sometimes you experience good, sometimes you experience bad. I think the same way with that is. We were talking about Game Pass, right? You go on Game Pass and you see a game. This happened to me a couple times.
Yeah.
It happened to you a couple times, right?
Oh, yeah.
Talking about, it's like, hey, I downloaded this game, and like you 5 minutes into it, and it's like, I don't really like this, and so you delete it and uninstall it.
Well, that goes into like a more like in-depth conversation that we can talk about at another time. The more like how much does box art play into like you wanting to play a game?
Oh,
because like I look at Game Pass, and like one of the first things that's at the top is like the Banjo-Kazooie games.
Oh yeah.
And like inherently, you look at those like no offense to the Banjo-Kazooie fans, but like you look at those, you know, the title screens after those, and it's like I wouldn't want to play that.
Yeah.
But like I'm sure they're good games. Like people really like those games, but like I inherently wouldn't look at those cover arts and be like, yeah, I want to play that. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like what I'm saying. It's like should a game inherently how it looks matter more than like the actual game and gameplay? Like what matters more to you in 2024?
For cover art, they should probably make it look good.
Well, for cover art, but I think you also mean for gameplay as well.
For gameplay.
Yeah, the in-game.
So in-game, does how it look trump over actually playing the game and the mechanics in the game?
Depends on the style.
Depends on the actual game, I think.
It depends on the mechanics.
Because you can take 10 different games and they're all the same styling or same not styling, but same kind of like so okay, say Shadow of Mordor or so Shadow of Mordor and Assassin's Creed and The Witcher and what's another one that's in that same realm? I'll just use those three. Okay, at certain points of the game, they're all sort of similar. You're walking around trying to defeat some enemies, maybe jumping over a wall, maybe infiltrating something, fighting, whatever. So that kind of core game mechanic is pretty much the same across the line. They each have different slashing and fighting styles, but it comes down to like you could like both of those games, say Assassin's Creed and Shadows of Mordor, but if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, you're gonna buy this even if the graphics look better in Assassin's Creed. So a lot of factors come into play. So, but if you've been playing Assassin's Creed your entire life, the entire series, and the new Assassin's Creed comes out, I've played most of them now. So when a new one comes out, I'm probably gonna play it just to download it and play it. Chris, same way, just gonna download, play it, and play it through. And I think that plays a role sometimes more importantly than how the game looks, or even if it's good or not. Because I played bad games before, and I just played all the way through because I thought the game was.
To go off that point, right now I'm playing Cuphead.
Okay.
I love the art style in Cuphead.
Yeah,
it's so satisfying.
Well, I believe it's all hand drawn.
Yeah,
correct.
And I love that. Right?
You like that style of gaming?
Yeah. That's why it's my favorite skin for Cthulhu is Toon Cthulhu. Yeah. Okay. Because it's like, it's so cartoony and it's fun. Like you can tell people probably enjoyed, quote unquote enjoyed, like making the game because there's so much like style into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not the most realistic game, right?
Well, no, of course not. Right. But it's still a video game. It's still a game that you can play and enjoy. A lot of the games like that. Cuphead was a Super Meat Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Bash just downloaded one of the other games. Celeste.
Love Celeste.
He's been playing Celeste for a while. I didn't know what it was, and so I was watching him play, and it was just like, this game might make me mad. He's like, yeah, it will.
Yeah, the worst part about it is that at the end of the level, they tell you how many times you died.
Yeah.
I remember I was like, staying on topic because we're trying. I remember I got to like almost 1,000 deaths on one level. And I was like, you don't have to tell me that.
What level was that?
I think it was like the fourth or third level. Like I haven't finished it. Like I got to the point where I was like so frustrated with myself.
Well, was it the dream one?
I think it was like the second one where they have like the spirit of her like chase her.
Oh.
I think it was one of those levels.
I've Hollow Knight. You ever played Hollow Knight?
Hollow Knight.
That's another one.
Hollow Knight. Yeah, I get the style depends, right?
And those are all different styles, different styles, but they're all the same style of game.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're all fun. Yeah. So
more importantly,
going back to what you said,
more importantly, those are all indie games. Which again, separate subject that we talk about later.
Support indie games.
Yeah, we'll talk about that maybe on another podcast.
Oh shit.
But yeah, indie games booming. But yeah, it was just something that like. And that was something I was trying to convince that person. I was like, just because a game doesn't like maybe look the greatest and it's not super realistic doesn't mean it's a bad game.
No.
Like it can be far from it. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's some games that look bad and just are bad. We literally our previous podcast we were talking about how bad Concord looked. And it's just like don't judge a book by its game.
What was that samurai game that came out that just looked and played badly?
Samurai game.
Yeah, it came out. I don't know if it was this year or last year, or I don't even if it's even out. Honestly,
I have no idea what you're talking
it was
the last samurai game I can think of was what is it? I was gonna say Death Stranding, but that's wrong. It's a completely different game. It's a PlayStation game.
Oh, it's
Yeah, it's gonna bug me. We'll just forget about it.
Yeah.
And
We'll
I've
have to
given
come
up
back to
on this.
We'll have to come back
Yeah.
to it.
But anyway, like the whole point was like, games are games, and like if you don't, here's the thing, if you don't want to play a game, that's fine. Again, going back to the previous podcast, like you don't have a lot of time in your day, so if there's a game that you don't think is worth your time, then don't play it.
Then don't play it.
It's not like people are forcing you to play games.
Yeah, that's again another separate conversation. It's like, yeah, no one's forcing you to play any of these games. If you buy a game, like, and you don't like it,
There's nothing wrong with not liking it.
Yeah.
But then just don't play it.
Yeah.
That's,
and also don't go in with this notion that, oh, it's a bad game, they're gonna fix it, because they might not.
They might not. Yeah.
Or and if they are, it's going to take years.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Again, a separate conversation. Back then, like the games kind of had to just come finished. Now it's like, okay, we'll just release it and then we'll fix it later.
Yeah.
We'll
We'll put it in
or
a
something.
back in
Which is
DLC and fix
It's
it
a
later.
horrible attitude.
Yeah, it's like we'll fix it in post, And it's just like games back in the day. It's like I was like, oh, well, all the game data is on the cartridge. Like
You can't change it.
we're not gonna be able to change it. So if it's bad, it's bad. Like imagine that you had to like go into like, I don't know, like a Toys R Us back in the day, and it's like, hey, I got this I got my NES copy of Super Mario Bros. And Mario can't jump. Like,
yeah, can you fix it, please?
Can you like put it in something? Can you like blow in the cartridge and see if it works?
Like
Yeah.
at that point, it's
The game.
unplayable.
Oh yeah, if games were like how they are now back then, the gaming industry probably would have failed.
It would have
Like,
failed.
But yeah, again, completely separate conversation for a completely separate podcast. But I think now it's time we just move on to the next thing that we were going to talk about, and it's actually John's segment. I don't think it was not John's segment, but John's the one starting it off.
Yeah, we have a lot of I think Ruben might have mentioned something very, very lightly in the first episode about having hot takes about things. Hot takes, opinions, strong opinions about things. And so I figure, you know what better way to talk about it than during the podcast, and we can bring up something different every week. And this week just happens to be Demon Slayer, the anime. I absolutely cannot stand it. I think it's horrible. The fighting between them is don't like the water style, this style. I've seen about half the anime. I've read the full manga. The manga was okay until it got to the end. No spoilers or nothing, right? But it was like, if you read it to the end, you know what I mean? It's just kind of and with as much hype as it had, I just don't. That's just my opinion. That's my kind of, I guess you want to call it hot take or whatever you want to call it. I think it's a horrible anime. I think there's much better anime out there. I think if you ask me, I'd much rather watch My Hero other than Demon Slayer.
Damn.
Granted, I love My Hero Academia, but I love a lot of anime better than Demon Slayer. What are y'all's opinions on that? Y'all have any opinions?
Well, I haven't seen past the arc with the sound guy.
Okay.
Like that's about as
so
far.
you haven't seen the recent season?
No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
To be fair,
I don't mind spoilers, so you can say whatever you
well, I'm
want.
not gonna spoil it for people who maybe haven't seen it.
Right.
I'm just gonna say this: the Hashira training arc was boring. Like it's like 6 episodes.
Yeah.
And I think the actual like the amount of chapters that they did for the manga was only like 5.
Yes.
So it's like 5 chapters, and they did 6 episodes for it. And it's just like,
How does that work?
it's a bunch of filler. It's a bunch of stuff.
It
it's a bunch of stuff
should have
that
been in there. Yeah.
It's a bunch of stuff to make you care about the Hashiras when in actuality you really don't. Like, and here's the thing: I'm not saying it's bad, because trust me, like it's not the worst shonen.
Yeah, I didn't say it's the worst,
Like,
but
like I can think of
can't watch it.
But here's the thing, right? At the end of the day, those types of shows, shonen shows, most of them are going to be pretty fine. There's one in particular for me that I think is just bad.
What?
Like it's actually, I'm not even gonna, because I'll just leave it at that. There's just one that I think is bad. But like the one
on different episode.
I will talk about that one. I'm ready. But like the one thing I will agree with you on is that I will agree with you. I think I'd rather watch My Hero. And I'm not saying like My Hero is like 10 out of 10 show.
No, yeah.
But like it's not as bad as people make it out to be. I think it's because
people don't like the main character.
that, and I think the fandom is pretty cringe. Like there's one thing I'll say about My Hero is that the fandom's pretty cringe, like more cringe than like most fandoms.
Okay, I can agree with that.
Because you were about to say it was like well all I can tell by your face here. If I say well all anime fandoms are cringe.
Yeah. They are, but I get where he's coming from.
It's like they're more cringe than like most fandoms. Like, and obviously we're not talking about how cringe the My Hero. We're talking about is Demon Slayer good? I would say it's
yeah. If you like My Hero, we're not calling you cringe. It's just.
And here's the thing. I personally I like how Demon Slayer looks. I think when they do have fight scenes, they're very colorful.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's a very nice to look at.
It's very stylistic.
Yeah, it's very nice to look at. It's pleasing to the eye. Is it the best story? No. Like,
could be better.
It could be better. Like it at least is keeping me interesting. Like I said, it's like the first season was like fine. A lot of people really like the not Swordsman Village. The entertainment district arc.
Oh, where it's the sound guy?
No, that's
the guy.
That's the Surface Village. I think it's called the entertainment district. I don't. You can let us know. Second season, everyone really likes the second season. I thought the second season was fine. Actually, my favorite season is actually the third season. I actually think the third season is pretty good. But like that, it's also because like they have my favorite Hashira in it, which is the mist guy. I like his backstory. Something about him and his. Yeah, maybe I'm gonna get a little spoilery. But like the story between like him and his brother, I thought that was really interesting. But like I'm not gonna say that season's perfect because like there's also the chick Hashira, who uses like love style or something.
Oh, the girl with pink hair or whatever.
Yeah, pink hair girl. Fan service central.
Well.
And like I do not care for her as a character. Like they kind of just throw in a lot of her story all at once instead of just like having it like organically. Whereas like I feel like the other guy, I forget his name, the mist style guy, like at least he's at least paced a little bit better. But like I'm not gonna say he's like the best either. And then like I just think some of the characters in Demon Slayer are just kind of annoying.
See, I don't know if it's a combination of multiple things because you can say this about a lot of different anime, and when you're looking at like say when you're watching anime, you have lots of different reasons that you like it. I have a problem with the art style. I don't know why. I understand that other animes have the same kind of art style as they have, the same kind of drawing. But if I'm not hooked on the art style within like the first 5 minutes of the show, I won't even watch it, even if it's a great show, even if it has a great, good fight scenes, awesome backstory. It doesn't have to look like it's drawn the best. I love One Piece. I mean, that's. It's not the greatest when it first started. That first couple of seasons, the art style was not the greatest.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for them to redo it.
It's
redone version. I cannot wait for that.
So I think
because I agree. That's
the whole thing. That's the whole thing. I think it'll draw in a lot of new fans when that. But we can talk about that.
Separate discussion.
When it comes to like I said, when it comes to art style, sometimes it's also I'm a very big proponent, but if you have a great anime opening, the song,
oh yeah,
generally I will love the anime, and if I don't like it, I'm not gonna like the anime. It's just been a weird thing over the years, but for some reason I don't know if it's not the fandom, but it's just maybe because of how hyped up it was. Like, oh my god, it's this greatest anime, and all these people are loving it, and it's just like it's just a normal anime like all the other ones. I mean, I've had this conversation. Me and Ruben have had this conversation before, where it's like pretty much it's the same story amongst like 15 different anime.
Oh yeah, you can look at any like battle shonen and be like, oh yeah, it's just the same story.
Yeah,
like for the most part, it's like, oh boohoo, somebody died. Now I got to go save the world.
Yeah. And along the way, there's a couple of similar, and you have your mentor, you have your person that you're taking care of, you have your you get your butt kicked a little bit, then you get a little bit better, and it's pretty much all the same. So the drawing and the story have to really matter because the same kind of it's gonna have the same overarching like kind of I guess I don't say inner story, but the same kind of it's the same genre. I don't know what
it's shonen.
Yeah, it's shonen. Yeah. But I mean, okay, look at it. See, I don't want to bring up a bunch of different anime, but like if you look at like Black Clover or My Hero or even Naruto. I mean, I don't know. To me, they had better story. To me, they're a little bit drawn better. I don't like the anime style. I don't like the art style. That's why I read the manga. And like I said, I got to the end of the manga, and it was like the last one was kind of blessed. So it was like now I don't want to. It just made me not want to read or watch the whole anime. So that's my opinion. No, maybe not be like I don't know. Some of you might agree, some of you might disagree. And
Well, John, it's fine. Look,
yeah.
sometimes it's okay to be wrong.
Yes, very true.
And that's where
And we'll find more about that later.
But yes, please let us know your opinions if you have an opinion, because we'd love to hear it. And if you have any hot takes of yourself, let us know those too. And maybe one day we'll read them out on a podcast. We'll just do a dedicated podcast for hot takes, and we'll just rate your hot takes.
Hey, we might agree, we might not.
So with that being said,
welcome back after that cut that we hopefully did. I mean, we're not going to have any way of segueing it, so we're just going to go into the next topic, which is one that we wanted to talk about a little bit last week. We just didn't do the research, or more importantly, we just didn't watch the thing that we were supposed to. But we attempted to do that now, and that's where we're talking about the Borderlands movie, because we wanted to keep it relatively into the gaming sphere, and like nerdy stuff, and it's the big thing that happened.
Yeah.
We all three of us, attempted to watch it, because one of us is a a very big Borderlands fan. One of us knows somewhat about what the Borderlands and the characters and stuff like that. And then there's one of us who just doesn't really know anything about the world of Borderlands and stuff like that. And only one of us watched the movie in full. And can you guess which one of the persons out of those three descriptions was the one to watch the movie? Spoiler alert: it was not the two that were somewhat fans. And that person was me.
Well, yes, it was him, and that's the way it usually happens. Real fans of things that come out, usually, if it's going to be bad, they don't watch it.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's like if a fan doesn't want to watch it, then that's more indicative of the bigger problem. Of like it at that point, it probably was just bad.
As soon as the trailer came out,
watched about half of it.
As soon as the
I
trailer
almost watched
came
it
out,
twice.
I watched the first 5 minutes and I got mad.
Yeah, so I really want to hear Vic's take, because Vic, out of the three descriptions that I gave, Vic is the biggest fan out of all of us. Again, I don't know anything about Borderlands. John at least knows some things about Borderlands. The only thing I knew about anything in that movie was Tiny Tina, and that's because you bought me the Tiny Tina Wonderland game.
Mm-hmm.
So like, other than that, I had no idea who any of those people were.
The only Borderlands game that I haven't played yet are both of the Telltale games. Once.
Are those like canon?
Yeah.
Like, do you have to play those games?
Well, Tales of the new Tales of the Borderlands is like the latest in like the timeline. But I mean, if you don't really care about the story that much, which it's fine.
Anyway, Vic, in the 5 minutes that you watched,
yeah,
and whatever else you've seen,
yeah, because I think you said you kind of just gave up and you were like, I'm gonna go watch other people watch it.
Right. So okay, so I immediately when the trailer came out, I didn't like it because
you didn't.
I didn't like it because they cut out two of the four main characters from the first Borderlands. Like, they straight up just cut the cast in half. They had Lilith, they had Roland, but Brick and Mordecai weren't there, and they were replaced by Krieg, a Borderlands 2 character, and Tina, who you don't even play as. Like, you can't play as Tina. Right? And then they have Tannis there, who again is not a playable character too. I don't know. I just didn't. It annoyed me, right? And they have Kevin Hart playing as Roland, like the most serious guy, or one of the most serious guys in the Borderlands universe, played by Kevin. I don't know. It just felt weird. And Lilith.
Think about Lilith.
She's supposed to be like 20.
Apparently, she wasn't.
Yeah, and Tannis is also supposed to be about 20. It's just a little weird, right? Tina was fine. Obviously, they can't have like a 13-year-old girl I mean, I guess they could, right? But like, it's a little weird. So I didn't mind Tina being older-ish, right? Looking more like her future self rather than what her age would be at Borderlands 1. But I mean, that was
Well, is this movie supposed to mimic Borderlands 1? Like I said, I've never played the game, so I don't know if this was supposed to be like its own story thing or if it was supposed to replicate something else.
Who we talked about before too. I wasn't sure if it was trying to mimic like a specific game because I knew Krieg was from Borderlands 2,
for that's true.
and it was just like,
Well, one of the DLCs.
well, yeah, but I mean, like, he didn't come out until then, so it's like, I don't think, I mean, me just knowing about it, I don't really think I had an issue with like the characters that they or like the actors. I mean, because you're never gonna really get it right. A couple of movies have gotten it right. Borderlands didn't really get it right, but at the same time, it just seemed too like they were just trying to be over the top just to be over the top during some of the
Yeah.
scenes. Like it wasn't like, and I get that because it's Borderlands. That's how the game played as well. It was outlandish, supposed to be. And but some of the, I don't know. Maybe it's the acting. Maybe that's what it was. About halfway through, I fell asleep. Actually, I told Ruben I fell asleep halfway through. Check the actual video. I fell asleep at 20 minutes in. Then I watched a little bit more. Then I stopped it. Then I watched a little bit more. Then I watched some reactions. I couldn't finish it.
Yeah.
It wasn't. If it wasn't a movie that I had seen anything about, it would have been like,
Yeah.
maybe
So
okay.
so because how I watched the movie was a lot of reactions, and I saw a lot of people that have never like don't know anything about kind of like you didn't know anything about Borderlands and all that stuff, and they all said it's like yeah, it's a cute idea, but it looked like it wasn't interesting. There wasn't any stakes.
Well, that was my biggest problem, and this is going like, you were talking about like you only saw like the first 20 minutes. There's a lot of stuff that just happens in the first 20 minutes. Like it's poorly paced. That was my biggest problem with the movie. It's like they're doing too much too quickly, and it's like they don't let something breathe.
Yeah.
Like everything just kind of happens. It's like, oh, okay, they break Tina out of the thing, and then that's like the first like 2 minutes, and like as they're breaking out Tina, they accidentally break out Krieg, I think.
Yeah.
And then let's say, oh well, now
Well,
he has to
out
come
on his
with,
own. Yeah.
And it's like, oh well, now he has to come with us because why not?
But at the same time, it's like the way he broke out, like couldn't he have done that at any time?
Yeah.
Because he just busted out of the glass. Like
Mm-hmm.
that made no sense to me whatsoever.
John, because it's not convenient. If
I know. I'm just saying.
Okay, so that was just the trailer. Me judging the trailer. When the first 5 minutes came
Well, I
up,
showed you the first 5 minutes.
it's Kate Blanche who plays Lilith in this movie narrating, right? And I immediately went, why isn't Marcus narrating, right? And then as soon as I said that, they show an image of Marcus doing an ad, right? It's like, okay, so they physically have him here, right?
Oh, you didn't see it. He's the bus driver.
Yeah. Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
like no, I'm saying like in the first 5 minutes,
Okay,
right?
I'm just saying,
As soon as I say, why don't they have Marcus narrating? Because he's the narrator from like I think all of the games, right? Like as soon as you hear his voice, like, oh, you want to hear a story, welcome to Pandora, if they had him as a narrator, I probably would have been like, okay,
at least they're trying a little
like
bit.
let me at least get further into the movie, right? But it's Kate Blanche. She's already in most of the movie.
Yeah.
She's like the main character.
Is it Kate Blanchett or Kate Blanchett?
Kate Blanche. I don't care.
I don't know.
I don't care.
Let me make sure. I didn't know which. I don't remember her name either.
I don't. Nothing against her. Right.
It's like I was talking when I was explaining it earlier before like we started recording the other day. I was like, dude, I don't know. They're Lilith, and like, I don't really care who the actor was because I'm probably never going to see anything that they're in ever.
Yeah, she's a good actor.
I'm sure she is. I'm sure. Here's the thing. I'm sure everybody who's in this production was in something that I enjoyed, like the Tannis. The lady who plays Tannis, she plays Iden Versio in Star Wars Battlefront 2. She plays like it's like their story mode. And you probably haven't played it, but like when I did play it, I was like, she looks familiar. Yeah. I literally stopped what I was doing. I was like, is that who I think it is? I was like, yeah, that is who I think it is. I mean, it didn't like make me enjoy the movie anymore, but like I was just like, hey, that's pretty cool. I know somebody.
Damn.
That wasn't Kevin Hart or Jack Black.
And Marcus being in the movie, right, or like the character of Marcus, whatever, him not having the full accent like that, it's just like
it was heartbreaking.
I mean,
like,
and a little bit of his talking was like, oh, okay, it's like you're trying a little bit, but
yeah.
All right, well,
I mean, I would have, yeah.
sometimes you like
I
them,
just,
sometimes you don't, right? I mean,
yeah,
sometimes they hit or miss.
yeah.
I think this was a miss.
Also, another thing, a lot of that I saw is a big part of Borderlands is the guns.
Yeah,
Like it's like all
and they didn't
every
emphasize on it a lot.
like every manufacturer has like a unique way that they make the guns and all that stuff. And I don't know, a lot of the guns were just shoot, shoot, shoot. That's it, right?
Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah, like I would have enjoyed it. Like, as a Borderlands fan, I probably would have liked it just not a lot, right? Because still the story was so segmented. I was like,
It didn't really mesh with
yeah, it was
yeah.
like,
Well, because like the story, like as somebody who watched the movie, it's like the story tries so hard for you to like to make you care,
yeah,
but like you just don't.
no,
I mean, again, I think it's mostly because it's a pacing issue. It's like they move through things so quickly. It's like they don't give you the time to breathe and soak it in and make you care. It's
Yeah.
just like, hey, here's the story, and then like it gets to a segment where it's like, oh, this is supposed to be some like emotional high point, right? You're supposed to feel invested, and you just don't.
mm-hmm.
And that's like most of the movie. It's just like, well, why do I care about what they're trying to, like, why they want Tiny Tina back? When like I kind of feel like she's kind of annoying. It's like for all I care, they can just do whatever they want. They can
Yep.
take her back. I'm like, I would not care.
Yep.
Now don't get me wrong. There were points in the movie where I did laugh. I actually thought like there was some funny parts in the movie. Like they weren't like I was like like laughing over rolling on the floor. But
chuckle.
Yeah, it got like a funny little chuckle out of me. Which I guess was like the bare minimum it had to do, right? But it's just like, yeah, I don't care about any of these characters. Like they don't really stay on something for too long to like make you care. Like there's a segment in the movie where they like go into the um there's like an underground thing that they like go into, and there's like it's like acid on the floor for something
downtown.
Yeah, there's like an acid pool, and like there's like a railing that they need to cross behind, and it's like really degraded, and they can't really do anything to get like across. And there's supposed to be like this whole like thing where it's like, oh, they're trying to like go over it, but like the things are breaking, and like Tina's like the first one to go, and she's going like real fast, and the thing breaks, and then Creek saves you, and then it's just like okay, and then they start going on it, and it's supposed to be like it feels like it should be this like suspenseful thing of like, oh man, what if something breaks, and then like they get into the acid, and then like 2 minutes, like a minute, like probably like a minute later, they're already on the other side, and I'm like, well, that kind of just takes the suspense out of it. It's like why'd you even bother showing that they can fall in if like there's no danger to it. They just fucking do it. Yeah. Sorry for swearing.
You know the most egregious form of that is when Roland sacrifices himself.
Yeah, and then he's just kind of like
and he's
back.
like, oh, just
spoilers. Roland doesn't die.
Wow, what a shocker.
Yeah.
But when that first happened, I'm like, whoa, like if Roland dies here, that's kind of cool because he does die in the games, but like Borderlands 2.
Oh darn, Vic.
Oh no.
Yeah. What if I was gonna play that?
Oh no.
Honestly, if there's one thing that this movie did do, it made me want to play the games just to have a better experience.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Dude.
Which maybe that was their plan the entire time. Maybe 2K was like, you know what, we'll make a terrible movie, but it'll boost game sales.
Well, maybe because after the movie came out, Borderlands 4 got announced.
True. Yeah, that was the thing that happened.
Yeah.
I completely forgot that happened.
Which
and I think the Borderlands games are on sale right now too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe up.
Hey, there you go. Get Borderlands 1,
Well,
2, 3.
so there's some
general consensus
opinions from 3 different types of people who
so general
seem
consensus,
to all not like it.
General consensus is it was not a good movie. It made $31 million on a $115 million budget. Say with that what you will. If you haven't seen it and you want to think about seeing it, sure, go ahead.
At your own peril.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. I did read somewhere that the director for the movie, Eli Roth, who is more famously known for making like indie horrors, first shot this movie to be a rated R movie. And then they got another director to do reshoots.
When they should have probably kept
Yeah, so
Oh,
it'd be more PG-13. Which I was like,
Maybe that's what I don't know.
that's probably.
Who knows?
I don't know.
We'll never know now.
Yeah, we'll probably never know.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's not like they teed up this movie to get a sequel. It kind of feels like it's just a thing
Like
that
a standalone.
yeah, it's like a standalone thing. So they probably weren't even thinking about making a second one, or if they were, there it's going to be like a completely new story.
Yeah.
But obviously, considering how bad this one did, that's probably not going to see the light of day.
No.
And
Unless someone morbs it up.
yeah, it's Morbin time.
It's Morbin time.
God, that was. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that at a different day. But
with that,
we'll
get into our last
the
bit of the show here.
Yeah, it's I was gonna say it's the recurring segment, but this is the second time we've done it, so
it's recurring.
I guess it's record time we've done it.
Okay. That counts as recurring,
right? It's like
it's occurring.
Yeah, we're on the end credits of the show. We're recurring cast.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Anyway, let's get back to that. It's our weekly, I guess. I don't know what we're calling this. The pack opening. I don't remember which ones you guys had.
I think I had this.
No, I have.
Yeah, you had Pink Marshmallow guys. I had
Pink Marshmallow guys.
Don't
know.
So we've decided instead of seeing who had the best pull or the best hit, we're just gonna tally the hits. So we're all equal. We all got one hit. So right now score is tied. That could change today, or maybe it'll stay the same and none of us get a hit. We don't know. We'll find out.
And last week there was no showing of the cards. This week we'll pop it up on screen. Just let you know what we got. And
we'll also show everyone's cards all at once instead of us doing it one at a time. Or one card, as I should say. So we will just do that. I guess we should roll to see who. You don't have to do any card trick, Doug.
It's just here?
Yeah. But we should probably roll to see who reveals their stuff first.
D6.
D6 is fine. Cool. You can roll. I'll roll last.
Ooh, metal. 4.
3. 2. All right. So John's last.
Whatever. Nice.
All right, Vic.
Step forward, top 3.
You got to do it from the front because the back card is the best.
Okay, I'll do this though.
You don't have to say them out. Just.
Ooh. Ba 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 ba. 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 Ba 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 ba.
Oh, you actually got a shiny.
Hey.
Whoa. Yeah, I got a shiny Noibat.
Yeah,
Noibat. That's pretty cool.
It's a Noibat.
Charcadet.
Yeah, Charcadet. And a Cerulege.
Nice.
All right.
Oh.
That's just an energy.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll show that right now. I got a fire energy. All right.
Water.
And you got a psychic for anybody who carried. Will this pop up if I do it? Not super great.
No, we're probably just gonna edit.
Yeah, I'll still show it just in case, just so I have a frame of reference. So
you gotta know that.
Yeah, here you guys could see if I got anything. So I don't know what's that. We got. No, I'll just do it.
No.
Yeah, I'll just
rifle through.
Yeah,
that's fine. I'll still say what we got, just so we can have something there. We got a Natu, Paldean Student, Cottony, Lapras, Swoobat, Artisan, Curlia. We'll see if the camera will pick that up. I got a shiny Flamigo.
Hey.
That's cool. So me and Vic are technically tied now. I got a Gimme Ghoul and a Houndstone. Hollow. That doesn't matter because I got the Flamigo.
Hey.
All right, so me and Vic are tied. Let's see if John's the ultimate loser.
We go Chimicho. Ghastly.
Wait, did you say Chimicho?
It's a Chimicho.
That's Chimecho.
It's a Chimicho.
It's a Chimicho.
That's a
bro wants a chimichanga.
Chimecho. That's a Chimecho right there.
Ooh, that's a Ghastly.
Paldean. Barboach.
Yeah, Barboach.
Donphan.
Nestball.
Graplock. Goldingo.
Yeah, Goldingo.
Mashal. And a Iron
Treads EX.
Yeah.
So again, we each got a hit, so we're all tied at 2.
Nice.
And
we'll pop that on.
If there's one thing
on screen.
If there's one thing we've learned about these tins is that you should probably just buy them. Yeah, we're 2 for 2. Like
and that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Depending on depending on how tens usually go.
Yeah. Anyway, with that said, this, is the end of the podcast. We appreciate all of you for watching and enjoying because your time is precious and you do not have to. So we thank you for that. And we hope that you will come back next week.
Yep.
Or the next time we upload.
Anything
I'm having a great time.
Nice. Well,
this is fun. We enjoy doing this.
thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
Peace.
Laters.